Well, a campaign dubbed I Survived Ebola is generating a lot of buzz on social media. Last week, viewers on the Line show featured the creators of the campaign, Sierra Leone's ambassador to the United States, and others on the front lines of the fight against Ebola. Viewers Paul Ndio has our report.
Since December of 2013, when the Ebola outbreak began in West Africa, countries affected by the deadly disease have been working around the clock to combat the epidemic. The World Health Organization reports more than 20,000 people have been infected with the virus, and slightly more than 8,000 people have died from the disease. A campaign called I Survived Ebola is trending on social media, where Ebola survivors in 3 West African countries worst hit by the epidemic share their stories through a mobile application as part of a UNICEF-backed campaign to inform and fight stigma around the disease. Sean Southey is the CEO of PCI Media Impact, the creators of the campaign.
Helping survivors tell their stories, we think we're having a big impact. By sharing survivor stories in Sierra Leone, in Guinea, in Liberia, on TV, on radio, on print media, we're allowing actual survivors to inspire people to do the right thing and to challenge stigma.
Although many people have survived the disease, they still face a rejection from their communities due to lack of information and denial. Appearing on the VOA show On the Line, Bokari Stevens, Sierra Leone's ambassador to the United States, said the stigmatization of Ebola has done colossal damage on the streets of the 3 countries.
There's a tremendous amount of impact, apart from the stigmatization of it. I mean, the world today, we're all joined together by common commerce, transportation and things like that. And when you have like 4 or 5 transport companies, air transport companies, boycotting a nation, I mean, it's almost snuffing the life out of you.
The I Survived Ebola campaign is funded by the Paul G. Allen Foundation. Paul Allen is a U.S. philanthropist and a co-founder of the tech giant Microsoft. Southey says that survivors in Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia will be given smartphones to document their stories and exchange tips on how to cope with the disease.
The app is to help the survivors themselves tell their stories and connect to each other. It's a very simple app. We gave, with the help of a wonderful little NGO, globalgiving.org here in New York, each of the survivors a smartphone so they can talk to each other, but they can also share their stories over time.
2 survivors who have agreed to contribute include Kamara Fanta, a Fantalin from Guinea, who lost 6 members of her family to Ebola, and Deconte Davis, a 23-year-old Liberian who overcame Ebola. Ambassador Stevens says that his country, along with Liberia and Guinea, have made some strides against Ebola, but the fight continues.
We all have to coordinate our efforts and make sure that we eradicate Ebola from the basin.
The Ebola epidemic remains the biggest story on the continent and the largest epidemic in history, and the virus is still spreading. Paul Ndiho, VOA News, Washington.